Avinash, what about some of these NBFCs? I mean, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv, yes, but the point that I was making earlier, the kind of falls that we've seen in an SKS Micro, kind of falls in a Capital First and a few others, it's not been a hunky-dory ride for the NBFCs in the last 2 months, and they were the darlings really. Feb, March, almost everybody wanted to lap up NBFCs.
I think from a longer term perspective, NBFCs would still continue to be attractive.
Which is fine.
But from a near term perspective, I think, with rate cuts not going to happen, I think their cost of funding, Neeraj, is not going to come off. If you compare them to the PSU banks or the private sector banks, I think to whom they compete, I think it's going to be a tough ride at least for a couple of quarters. And as long as the cost of funds doesn't come down, I think if you take a point like say Mahindra Finance, which is anyway lending largely to the agri sector, I think they are definitely going to see definitely some sort of cutback in their volume growth. And more importantly, the kind of momentum which they have shown in the last 2 quarters does not inspire confidence. I think Capital First caters largely to the SMEs and the medium enterprises. So there could be some kick in on the volume growth side. But nevertheless, I think funding cost is definitely going to remain high. So your point is right. Maybe for the very near term, the outlook would remain challenging, and probably you'll see that getting reflected in the quarterly performances also.
So if from the financial space, I mean, while you're talking about it being a risk off for most NBFCs, do you think SKS Microfinance, given its business model being a little differentiated, hold more value, down 3% in a market fall?
I think again, Tanvir, if the time window is slightly longer term, I would definitely be a buyer around 400 plus levels, because the kind of balance sheet cleanup and the kind of margins at which they operate. Clearly, within the microfinance space, I think the longer term potential is definitely attractive. I think clearly the risk in SKS Micro is also relatively reduced. So my sense is somebody who takes a year and a half kind of time horizon call definitely should get handsome dividends, provided the wait is slightly longer.
Whatever the market is off the day's lows.